Well, hello and welcome to the Mills Connection Show. I'm your host, Carla Mills. Today I have Ralph Long, State Representative. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you, Carla.
How you
Appreciate
doing?
it. Thank you for having me.
I have been watching the news in the past couple of weeks. There you are.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you, first of all, for coming to the show. But, you know, when someone is on your level, what is it in life or what happened in your life that you wanted to be a state representative?
I lived in a gentrifying community. My parents got a divorce, and my father.
Where are you from?
Atlanta. I've been
Okay.
here all my life. And my father bought a house off Sylvan Road, and the what-if possibilities were just so great, you know.
Okay.
And then, in addition to that, the Fort McPherson base was closing, and I didn't want anybody making any strong decisions about what was going to happen on those 488 acres besides me, because I
Okay.
knew what my heart's intention was, you know. So that's why I decided to just run and you know, chair the Perkerson Park Restoration Committee over there. We got involved, and I saw that there was a need for a different style of leadership over there, and that's why I went for it.
All right. Well, on your level as being a Georgia representative, what is it that you stand for? Let the audience know, what is it that Ralph Long wants to change?
I just want true integrity, you know, and
Is there a such thing anymore?
you'd be surprised. I mean,
Okay.
you know, it's hard to find sometimes. I wonder when I ride down some of the streets in our neighborhoods, Campbellton Road, Cascade, or just, you know, meandering through surface streets like Estes, or just, am I the only one sometimes seeing the blight, the lack of the business selections, you know, lack of restaurants? It's very hard to get a cucumber salad in Southwest Atlanta. I think they have chicken and more chicken.
And you
chicken.
have Applebee's and
Anything fried.
Yeah,
and
anything
then,
fried.
You know, and that's why Michelle Obama, when she came to town, I was fortunate enough to be on the short list, you know, pushing her food initiatives, because we have several food deserts down there. And I didn't see anybody speaking to those issues too much. And then, not to mention the schools.
Yeah.
The schools were just bad. And they were so-called blue ribbon, but in actuality, which was a federal award, but in actuality, if you ask the average young male, especially black males, to divide 12 by 4,
can't do it.
I got a bunch of grunt sound. Huh?
Yeah.
Wait, why you ask me that question? You know, this kind of stuff. And it was sad, because I knew I didn't grow up that way. And I knew something was going on in our schools. So if you look at it, we had actually no code enforcement, low property values, no schools, and yet questions about, you know, should certain leaders stay in place? And nobody was saying anything about it. And so when the opportunity came for me to stand up, to run for office, I mean, I ran to the line. And it's been very financially devastating to myself and to my wife. I mean, we have so much deferred maintenance on our cars. It's cost us about $74,000
Oh, my.
over the last 4 years of our own money to serve in this office. And I have nothing to lose but to gain everything.
But what I don't understand is the Cascade area is a very affluent area. You have people that seem very educated. There's beautiful homes over there. So why isn't the community out there helping you?
The community is. The Cascade community has been great, you know. I mean,
Well, can't they fight for better restaurants or?
Well, you know, sometimes we get a little complacent. Now, I think that the Cascade Road area is awesome. Each sign that I have, I mean, you'll see a proliferation of signs from my election over there. The district has morphed all the way to Virginia Highlands now, too. But the 6 precincts that I've retained from my original district, which is now soon to be District 58, of those 6 precincts, you can't get on a street without seeing my signs. And each one of those signs, which are in yards, by the way, because I don't do the right-of-way, represents a conversation that I've had with somebody. And what we have been doing, basically, is instilling hope. Because while there are beautiful homes there, we're living good over there.
Very good.
But can you come out of your house and buy a suit without having Feli written down the side?
No, you can't.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, can you go get a salad? Can you eat something healthy?
No.
No, you know, and I'll be the first to tell you that it is a hidden jewel, because my house note is very affordable. But at the same time, our quality of life is encumbered by, I mean, a culture clash of neighbors. I mean, you know, just a different mix of people.
All right, well, let's talk about the nuisance laws.
Okay.
Talk a little bit more about that since you're talking about a different mix of people.
Well, unfortunately, when we dismantled, and this gets to that right there, when we dismantled a lot of the projects, I represent a huge portion of zip code 30310.
Okay.
And zip code 30310 was the #1 foreclosure zip code in the state of Georgia, third in the nation behind Cleveland and Detroit.
Wow.
It's been decimated by horrible bank business practices. And if you look on that, if you look at a map and you just put a red dot where all the foreclosures took place, you would see that there was no doubt some intention there aimed at removing the wealth from African Americans in inner city areas.
But a lot of white people are moving in that area now, at least when I drive around it.
And a lot of them never left.
Yeah.
And we have some good, I have some good rebel, I have some good power to the white people who help me out. And I have some good white people down there that are in the struggle with us. And I can tell you that when the projects were dismantled throughout Atlanta, the nuisance laws did not develop along with that. And so you have these people who are basically, you know, they're great people in some instances, who are moving and peppered throughout our communities. And, you know, they just don't have any home etiquette.
Yeah.
You know, we don't grill on the front porch. We don't grill in the front yard.
Yeah.
We don't party and congregate in the front yard.
That's true.
The front yard is where your face is. You wouldn't show somebody upon meeting them your butt, would you?
No, not at all.
Well, then don't treat your front yard like it's your butt or your backyard, you know?
Okay.
So, and these kind of things have to be taught and ingrained. And I think that some of the problems that we're facing in some of our lower economic, lower income areas, I placed my home, I mean, my wife and I, we had a huge home off Princeton Lake subdivision, and we didn't like it out there. I had my original home in the city. If I don't hear a MARTA bus or something vibrating in my house, I get a little homesick.
Okay.
And so we kept it in this challenging area to actually bring about change. But man, I tell you, the nuisance laws most definitely need to be updated because, especially in regards to, you know, these young kids get these pit bulls and they don't know how to maintain these animals. I love pit bulls. I've got 2 beautiful pit bulls in my family. I've got Champ and Mocha, and those are my friends. I can beat them up. You know, they're just they're a wonderful testament to how docile a pit bull can be. But when you don't socialize these animals, they're like exotic dogs, and they turn on you.
But what has happened to people nowadays? I mean, it's like what you're saying. You know, when I look at parents, their kids are outside barefoot. I mean, it's like we don't have a clue anymore. What's happened to us?
I think we've laid down. I think a lot of people have laid down. They've lost hope and despair. This is I mean, below 20, we have an economic depression.
Yeah.
And the onus lies with you. My mom used to always tell me, she said, you can't depend on someone else for your happiness. You have to choose to be happy and make yourself happy.
I agree.
And we're going to have to adapt that same attitude no matter where we are. We can be in the richest neighborhoods. You know, you have to actually make yourself happy. If the house adjacent to you has high grass, then your government is basically telling you that, hey, they're not going to go out there and cut it. You need to do it yourself and take ownership in your community.
But as a neighbor, if you're living next door to someone and your grass is cut and theirs isn't, what's the matter with us? Maybe their lawnmower's broke. We don't know what the situation is. Would you recommend maybe somebody just cut their grass?
Yes.
Because their grass high makes your house look awful.
I have never heard of someone receiving a trespass citation with a lawnmower that was running and they cut somebody's grass for them. I have never seen it. I have never heard of it. But sometimes, like for instance, I'm going to say a long, long place in Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
I used to live in this neighborhood, and my neighbors didn't cut the grass. As long as it's a fairy tale, okay? And I would get out there and just cut it myself because I didn't want all those dandelions blowing over my new sod that I just put in.
Yeah.
And my grandmama always told me, she said, you can always tell, you know, judge a man by his grass color. And I would go out there and look at the line. Mine had better be greener than my neighbors. You know, at least I try.
I agree.
But doing those things, learning how to cut your grass, learning how to take care of your home, these are things that we fall short on. I mean, let's think about it. If you're living off of Habersham or
you don't see that at all.
No, and you have a lot of wonderful landscapes to stimulate your mind and creativity as you go about going to work. You have $100,000 retaining walls and flowers. But if you go on our side of town, in Cascade or whatever, you don't see those things. And then you see these blighted conditions like Allison Court between Stanton and Delowe, you know, where we've successfully lobbied the Enron board with the city of Atlanta to tear these properties down. And I don't care what kind of day, you could have just won $1 million. But if you come out of your home and you're on your way to work and you have to drive past that every day, it's going to have an impact on your day.
It's depressing. And I always notice too, when you go to different parts of town, it looks like even the sun doesn't shine the same. I mean, it's crazy to say, but oh my God. But I know we could go on and on with that. I want to talk about the transportation tax. Can you talk about that, please?
Yes, the transportation local option sales tax. This is important, people. You have to actually, you know, some folks get to the ballot box and they just say, what is this thing? Oh, no, or yes.
Well, a lot of times we don't understand.
We don't understand.
We will see a video and, you know, a rap video and we'll Google it, but I don't understand. If we don't understand something in politics, why won't we Google that?
Well, because we just don't. I mean, you know, they hide information. Remember they used to hide information in books? Well, they hide it on the internet now. So the transportation local option sales tax is basically an extra penny that you're going to pay on your dollar. And there are projects that have been worked on and scrutinized.
Is this just in Atlanta?
No, it's not. No, I serve on transportation, higher education, and natural resources and environments.
Okay.
The details of this new legislation that's going to be on the referendum, on your ballot, were discussed about 3 or 4 years ago. And that's why you have to take advantage. This is going to be a little long story right here. You have to take advantage of this being the capital city. At the Dome, you can attend these hearings on transportation, and you can get a 3-year edge. And that can complement your business. That can complement anything you're doing. I mean, if you had a 3-year outlook on life, you know, and ahead of time, and you could see what was coming down, wouldn't you want to do that?
Of course.
So if you come down to the Capitol and you sit in these committees, you'll know what's going to happen down 4 years from now.
Wow.
So the transportation local option sales tax is actually 4 years old. And what it is, the Atlanta Regional Commission was appointed through the some of the attributes within the legislation that we wrote to come up with 10 or so many projects that were deemed shovel ready. Okay. Now, what I've done on my website, Georgia District 58, I've given a GeorgiaDistrict58.com. I've given a breakdown of some of these projects and how they would directly affect District 58 and what are the pros and cons. So you can look on this spreadsheet that was put forth by the Atlanta Regional Commission and say, oh wow, that's going to be a Beltline park. Oh, this is going to increase this bridge infrastructure right here. Or this is going to add to MARTA here, or increase some rail right here, or we're going to trolley system in Edgewood. And you can look on that sheet right there and specifically click on those projects and be taken to supporting documents, PDFs and whatnot. So the transportation local option sales tax basically will add a penny to your dollar within the city limits of Atlanta and DeKalb, whichever municipality across the state of Georgia. You will have one more penny on your dollar. Okay. In Fulton and DeKalb, it'll be an extra penny. Now, some folks don't like it because, I mean, I don't like the bill. I don't like the bill.
You don't like it?
I'm supporting it, but let me tell you why. But I don't necessarily like the bill. I
Why?
don't, because of the actual maintenance shackles that are placed on MARTA. And MARTA is my culture. I grew up riding the 170 Brown Lee, the 166 Ben Hill, 13 Tech Fair, 56 Adamsville.
Okay.
You know, I remember my bus drivers, you know, fussing at me. I've gotten kicked off the bus, you know. Hit the little red button on the train one time and actually stopped the train. It was when I was a kid.
Okay.
But MARTA is part of my culture, but I don't need anybody from Tifton, Georgia telling me about MARTA. And Fulton and DeKalb.
But what are they telling you? What are they saying?
Well, no, they're making decisions about MARTA. Making decisions about MARTA. Because right now, all 179 of my colleagues vote on what happens with MARTA. But MARTA, as you know, only goes within DeKalb, Fulton, and Clayton.
That's it.
You know, and that's it. So Fulton and DeKalb have been paying for it, and rightfully so. We should be able to actually scrutinize what some, you know, the positive things. We should be able to dictate what happens with MARTA. But you have people from Tifton, Georgia, and rural areas making decisions for it, and it's not fair. And we all know that MARTA was stagnated or stunted because of racial implications.
Yes.
Gwinnett didn't want it, Cobb didn't want it, and I'm sorry, Cobb County, CCT sucks.
Yeah, it does.
You know, they should have had MARTA out there a while ago. You know, so.
But they think it'll be more of us out there.
Yeah, so I don't like